to Perspectives on Enlightened TV. I am your host, Tiffany Wade, and today we have a very special guest by the name of Clemmy Greenleaf. She is the founder of Mothers Over Murder. She's going to be giving her perspective on a lot of the murders and things that's going on with our youth today, and she's going to also talk a little bit about her testimony and a lot of the things that she's been through. So I'm going to go ahead and let Miss Clemmy have the floor. Go ahead and tell them a little bit about your organization, Mothers Over Murder, and give a little bit of more detail about your testimony.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And again, thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I'm excited. Just want to give God the grace foremost to take my tongue and let me speak on what he needs for me to speak on. I have, I've been through a rough life. Let me just start off with that. I always tell people that I don't sugarcoat anything. Being the founder of Mothers Over Murder program came towards the death of my son. I had a kid at a young age, matter of fact, 13. And I was raised by two alcoholic parents that loved me to death, but just didn't know how to raise me and to protect me. Was born into poverty and streets and guns and violence and drugs and everything else that you want to name that you see today. But I still feel somewhere inside of me was a strong force for me not to give in and give up. Got introduced, or I don't want to say the word introduced because that's kind of like a nice word. So let me just say I got trapped into sex trafficking from the age of 12 and in and out of it from the time I had my son and got snatched back in it. Got stabbed in my back trying to get away from it. Got stitches in my head trying to help other women get away from it. So I had a whirlpool. My life was really turned upside down, inside out. I have no reason to believe that, I don't have any reason to believe that I should be here right now being able to talk to you, Tiffany, because number one, I was in and out of juvenile so many times, in and out of jail and prison, that at 42 years old, I was facing a 20-year sentence for stabbing one of my tricks. I was tired. I was ready to die. I was ready to give up. So when I stabbed the man, I felt like, well, I'm going to prison. At least I'll be safe. I'll be off the street. I won't be beat no more, raped no more, none of that. But evidently, that man we call God, Jesus, had another plan on that one. Amen. He introduced me to a program called the Magdalene House. They call it today Thistle Farms. It's a 2-year program for anybody that's been on drugs, been snatched in sex trafficking, prostitution, and incarceration. And I was one of the participants that was spoken to in prison, and I signed up, didn't have no choice what happened. So when I got out of prison, just let me say, like a lot of us, I didn't call them right off the hand. I didn't call them right then. And everybody who say they did, they ashamed to say it, but I'm not now. It took me another 6 months to go get beat up again, drugs again, ODing and all of that before I really made that phone call. And I think the reason I really made that phone call, to really be honest, guys, is because the partner that I was doing crime with in the street was shot. And when he got shot, it scared me so bad that I knew I was gonna be next. And we was right in the same house. And I was with him when he robbed the dope man and helping him smoke the dope. So I know they're coming back at me next. And so let me just say, at the end of my testimony, I tell people that he went to the intensive care and I went to rehab in 2001 and just never looked back.
That's a blessing. Just to share your testimony
Yes.
and all that you've gone through, you know, with your parents being substance abusers, and then you know, going through sex trafficking and all, and facing, you said, over almost 20 years in jail, and God delivered you from all of that. That's a
Yes.
blessing, because there's so many other young women that are out here going through that, especially where I live at here in Atlanta. They're known for, you know, sex trafficking
Yeah.
and all of that. And you know, what's your perspective on sex trafficking, and how, what is a way that women or men, because men are going through it as well, how can people get out of that?
So you know, it's just like a game. Joining the game, they say you don't get out of it, you have to die. Just a way to get out of it. Well, to me, I think I aged out, because when you get older and you done been in it at a young age, it's costing them more money, more drugs, because you're needing more to go through the trauma, go through the pain, go through the misery of what's going on. So I kind of like slipped through that crack, so I could come back and get these girls and talk to them and tell them about what happened to me. Now, as of today, there's no such thing as aging out. We have to get them arrested. We have to get raids going in. We have to go kick in doors. We have to go try to look at the signs that girls and young boys, like you said, gives you when you're out at restaurants or clubs or bus stops. I had a 15-year-old girl came and found me from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh,
And
wow.
I didn't even know what to do. I kept her for 3 days. I was not gonna take her to the police station. And I mean, I'm telling on myself, but she got help now, so I can say it today. But there's not the help that people think it is out here for sex trafficking. When you get hold to a victim that wants out, I dialed every 1-800 number it were out here. I dialed every pamphlet that they do give you to call. It's not that easy, and it don't work like that. So I tell people all the time, if you don't know where to take them at, please call me. Please call me. This has got so wide spread it that now they were so used to looking for the black boy with the afro and the Cadillac, you know, calling it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling people when I speak now, say these predators now are in suits and ties. They got briefcase. They own businesses. They are CEOs. They are doctors. They are lawyers. So you need to quit looking for the afro and the Cadillac. That's a facade. That's
Right.
that's not happening anymore. And then sadly, as you say today, it's your family members. You know, we got a lot of them that they moms is really strung out there on the drugs, and they are putting their kids up for sale. You got some of the dads and uncles that are putting their nieces and nephews up for sale. We just had a bust here, like maybe back in February or March, and the youngest girl was 8, and the oldest one was 11.
Wow.
And the uncle, well, he was the uncle of 3 of the kids that was in there. And so
Wow.
that was really heartbreaking, because they was well known. You know, it's some family that people knew. So you need to look at everything. Your next door neighbor, Mr. Smith across the street. When you go to restaurants, just look at their face. They'll tell you, they're letting you know, they're giving you signals that this not my dad, this not my granddad, this not my mom. And the biggest thing I want the girls to know is they have put the madams back out here. And so the women's are asking, because I got 3 20-year-old nieces, beautiful nieces. And I'm telling them, I don't care if she do pull up and say, oh, I take you home, I give you a ride. You still tell them no. I'm calling my auntie, because they're the ones that's taking them to the predators now. So I want them to keep that in mind when we jump in the car with the women's today.
Oh yeah. And it doesn't matter. They could be young women, middle-aged women, old women, grandma age. They're out there doing all types of things to get it, because they're getting money for it. So people need to know the signs. They need to know you can't trust anyone. And that's what I tell a lot of the young girls that's in my program. You can't trust people, whether it's female, male, even sometimes they'll even use other sex workers that they have working for them to lure you in.
Yes.
Even sometimes they'll get close to friends or like you said, family members, and they'll pay people off just to get more people to be a part of the sex trafficking.
Yeah.
So it's so important, parents out there, make sure you keep your eyes on your children. I don't care if they're around other family members, be aware of what's going on.
And it's really sad that we even to this point to even tell people, be aware, be careful who you trust. I mean, I know that's been going on for generations and generations, but not like now, because the murder of my son was with a friend that he trusts. And this is what we're seeing today. My son was murdered in 2003. I had just got out of rehab. So they just knew I was going to go backwards because that was my only kid. I didn't understand it. You shot my kid in the back of the head. He wasn't that kind of kid, so, but it's like, no, I'm not, because that's what the devil wants. And then that's what the street wants for me to come back to them. But I was determined I wasn't, because not only did I want to just find out what happened, I really wanted to love on the person that murdered my son and find his mother and love on her, because who are you? Who helping her? What was going on in his mind? Like, what's going on with these people's mind today? How can you just walk up to somebody and just murder them? Everything ain't mental illness. Something is abandonment. And I always try to tell people, I don't feel like I'm a coward because I want to help the guy that killed my son. I feel like I can learn from him. And then I know the kind of person my son were, he would want me to help this young man because that's who he were. No matter what he would do, he would call me at 2, 3 in the morning and say, Mama, can you just talk to this young boy? He's in depression and he's talking about killing himself. And I was like, Rodriguez, honey, it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And number one, where are you? And then, and how can you stop whatever you were doing? Robbing, stealing a car, smoking weed, whatever you're doing, for you to stop and want to still pour into, Wow.
That's a beautiful
testimony. In the midst of whatever devilment he was doing. This is what he was embedded in. He was embedded with love, with God and the spirit. That you want to stop, wake me up, and put this young man on the phone for me to tell him some encouraging words so he can snap out of it and don't commit suicide or don't be sad. That right there showed me and made me realize really who my son was. So when that happened, I couldn't have all that hatred. I just couldn't. And once I got to the funeral and saw all those people, I didn't know my son knew a lot of people. So I had in a small church. It was almost 300 people there. And I was like, when I got there and turned around, I was in shock. So whatever anger I had in telling gang members to go make sure the family house get shot up, go make sure the grandmama get beat up, go make sure everybody died, whatever I was feeling at that moment. When I turned around and seen all the people, Tiffany, it immediately made me, I need everybody to get their phone and call every gang member off, call the prison, tell them don't look for that man, just stop everything. I had to get on the TV news to let everybody tell them I don't want no more bloodshed. I forgive the person that killed my son and I want to help him. 18 years later, I have spoke to the man who killed my son 2 months ago. Wow. I'm talking to him. I'm putting money on his book so he don't have to try to call me 3-way. I keep commissary on his book so he don't be going in there with nothing to eat. He's 50-some years old now and you still in there.
Wow.
So you ain't in there for my son though. He didn't get charged for him because like I said, it was back in that day, everybody was so treacherous, they were scared to testify on people. But he's in there for something else. And ain't no telling how long he's been going in and out of there, in and out of there. And I asked him one question. I said, tell me where you was at when you were 15. He said, locked up. I said, okay. Wow. I said, that's all I want to know. Yeah, that tells me who he is right there. And he said, Miss Greenleaf, he is remorseful. He's very remorseful. He said, Miss Green, you call me son. I said, yeah. He said, what is it that I could do? I said, call me on Mother's Day.
Wow.
That's what. Big.
That's such a beautiful story, because a lot of people that's been through what you've gone through would still be bitter, would still be angry. They wouldn't want to have, they would still have unforgivingness in their heart. They wouldn't want to forgive someone that murdered
I know.
their only child. So
I
the
know.
fact that you have forgiven him, you keep in touch with him, you show him compassion, you are blessed because of that. Because like I said, so many people would not want to do, they wouldn't even have it in their heart to do that.
Yeah.
So that's just a blessing that you're able.
You know, I have my group of mothers who have been behind me, called Mothers Over Murder. Though it's 45 mothers in person and like 45 on Zoom. And no, neither one of them is nowhere near this. And I don't try to tell them. Now, I did share with them what happened. I don't want them to think I'm a fake or a phony. I told them this is what God did to me. Now, if he don't ever do that to you guys, I still respect that. But they are nowhere near it. I don't talk about it in group. Matter of fact, I lost one or two just because I shared it. You know, they didn't want to be no part of my group again. And so you're right, it is hard. It is hard, and you have to have that touch from that God, that spiritual being. You have to even feel that. And I just say to him that he's had power over me for 18 years, and now I'm free. You know, I can really smile. I'm sorry. I can really smile. I'm free. And that's what has happened.
Right. And when you forgive, people don't realize when you forgive, you're free. You're free.
I mean, I didn't
it's
really
no
realize
longer
that
on
either.
you.
I didn't really realize that until just like all of a sudden you're light. You know, you just, your head don't hurt as much. I mean, you just, wow.
Yeah. So when you have unforgivingness in your heart, it makes you sick, and it wears on your body. It really does. And people don't, a lot of times people die so young and early from so many sicknesses because they have a lot of bitterness and angry, and they're holding on to grudges. When you hold on to something, you can literally feel it in the pit of your stomach, and you can feel it. It goes all over your body, and that's not good. So the fact that you were able to get over that shows that you're free. You're on here now talking about it, you know, and you're talking about that you still have a relationship. That's freedom right there. And I wish more people could get to that point. And for anything that they've been through, whether it's something like that or even something, some people won't even forgive for something small, you know. So when you can learn how to forgive people, you feel much better. You have more joy. You really do.
So what happened real quick, Tiffany, it did take me down through there. In 2018, I had to have a heart transplant. They said my heart was broken half. So it did get me. It did get me. So this new heart that I have, that I received in 2018, praise God, I don't want to put all that hurt in there. So that's when I had to let it go.
Yeah. Because people literally die from a broken heart. I forgot the name of the syndrome that it is, but
that's the name of it. Broken heart
syndrome. Yeah. I just thought about that when I said
I didn't even know it was a disease.
Oh, it is. It literally is.
I found out. Showed me. They showed me. I was actually broken.
Literally. Your heart will literally, you can literally die from a broken heart.
Yeah, they gave me 2 months. And so God had me on hard waiting in Texas.
Amen. Hallelujah.
I know.
God is good. See, and the fact that you've even overcome that, a heart transplant, going through surgery and all of that, God is keeping you here for this purpose, because there are other mothers out there that need to know what you've been through so that they can overcome it, and they won't have to go down the same road you went through. So God has blessed you literally with a brand new life.
Yes.
You know, you're a walking, living testimony. And it's just a blessing to have you on my show today to even talk about that, to give your perspective on, everything and the testimonies that you've gone through, because a lot of people would not have survived what you went through. And people don't realize they look at people and say, oh wow, I wish I could do this. I wish I was like them, but they have no idea what you've gone through to get to where you are today. So what other challenges have you faced as being the founder of Mothers Over Murder?
So the challenges I'm facing, like I think every other state, is that the violence thing got out of hand. The system is not paying any attention to it. Politics don't care. So I got to get back now to the community. They got to quit blaming the police. They got to quit blaming the mayor and the politics. You got to start with your house and your porch. You got to start with your child. These guns hit our city and our neighborhood for a reason, because they knew we was gonna fall for it. Because they need to hear some community people's voices instead of just everybody that's got the PhD behind their name. Get some people that have been through something. So I tell people all the time, you don't worry about them not giving you grants. You don't worry about them not giving you money. You can't do nothing. That's not fair. Y'all spending money every day out here. Right. Every day. I don't care if it ain't no cold drink, Marlboros, beer, weed, car note, rims on your car. Right. So I'm trying to get the community now back. I'm trying to get the community back black and let them know we the one that have to take our community back. God has already sprinkled a blessing on us. He's just waiting on us to make that move. And I'm going to be the one to go out there and start a parade.
And I've for as long as I've known you, I remember seeing you on the news when I was in Nashville, seeing you everywhere. You've always been a community advocate, and you've always taken your time. Like, you literally do the footwork from the ground up, and you're not ashamed to tell your story. You're not ashamed to go out there and ask other people to join in, because people need to know, about crime and violence and how to try to, stop the violence, because there's so many different things that's going on. And a lot of the youth, a lot of the middle-aged people, period, they're shooting gangs and killing people, and people's voices need to be heard. And you're one of those voices. You're not afraid and you're not ashamed to stand up and speak your truth and be transparent. We need more people like you. We need more people to go out there on the streets and let it be known, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, and this is what I'm doing to stop these things from happening. And we need more politicians that are out there to want to fund organizations that are out here making an actual difference in the community. So thank you for your service for the community and bringing people together to do something that's needed, and I wish we had more people out there that would actually jump in and help. So I know with a lot of, especially Black organizations, it's kind of hard for us to get funding, but it is. And I've noticed those are challenges that, because I've had other people on the show and a lot of them said some of the similar things, that one of their main challenges, financial, getting money and grants. So I'm putting this out there. Any politicians, any community people out there, please don't hesitate to give to a lot of these organizations that's out here making a difference, because if it wasn't for people like yourself out there, who would be doing the work?
That's right. That's right.
Doing the work. So how you said you have 45 mothers that are part of your organization. Have you faced any challenges with any of them and help them? Like, I know you're helping them overcome certain things. What are some challenges you face with them?
So the challenges I'm facing with the mothers now is that the mothers on the other end has started calling me and asking me, can they come to my group, because they need to vent. And I'm finding out that this mother is the son that killed this mother's child.
Ooh.
And I just found this out yesterday, so I'm so glad I hadn't had my mom's meeting yet, because I don't turn no moms down. But by that happening, that allowed me to know that God is bringing another prospect into the room. But it also let me know I have to respect these other mothers? Are they ready to see this mother? This mother really didn't have anything to do with it, but like we was talking about earlier, that don't mean they're gonna forgive this mother because your son killed my son. I don't want to see her. You know, they ain't gonna say the word her. They're gonna use that other word.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So now I have to talk to both mothers, and I'll be talking to both of them separate tonight. I don't think it's gonna work right now because I remember bringing that up like several months back. Like, I wonder how these other mothers feel whose sons or daughters actually pulled the trigger. Because I know somebody need to love on them. They need to vent. They need to talk about what it felt like them when they got that phone call. And my mother's immediately said, you know, well, don't bring them here. And if you, Miss Clemmy, I love you, but if you bring them here, I'm leaving, blah, blah. So they already pretty much assured me that can't happen. So I think my next challenge would be, am I going to have to start another mom's group with those mothers? Because I am a firm believer that I don't care what their child did, they deserve to vent and cry and be upset and get loved on too. They did not raise a murderer. So that right now is how I'm balancing, trying to see how to make that happen. Somebody told me they do a program like that in Chicago. So I'm hoping I get to fly to Chicago this month or next month before it get really cold and go to that and meet these people that's already doing it and kind of get a feel on, can I bring it in or not? But that would be my challenge that I'm coming up with next. The young people, I've got them because I started a whole new trend. They got to know the Lord. They got to know the spiritual being inside of them. And there's so many people that made them feel like they're not worthy, that they don't want to hear the word Bible. They don't want to hear the word church. They don't want to hear about Jesus love you. So I started a ministry, my own, after I got my pastor to license me. And I called it Thugging for Christ. So I had to throw it in there because that little name, that little name ring a bell.
I love it.
They feel like they fit in. Well, it take for them to come and hear me, to tell them how much this thug Jesus loved them, to get them a message, to get them to feel it. You know, I got a thug Jesus, you know, whatever it takes. For you to feel that you through with the guns, you through disrespecting your mama, you through dropping out of school, whatever you take. And so far, it's working. So I'm coming out in 2023 with it.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see the outcomes of that.
I know.
That's a lot of these young people, they need to know more about Christ in the way you're allowing the Holy Spirit to direct you on how to put that together. I believe a lot of the young people are going to be interested in being a part of that. And also back to the challenge you faced with other mothers that had, you know, children that killed someone. I know that's got to be very difficult for you, and then for the mothers that's been through that. However, you know, like you said, they need some type of, you know, loving as well and compassion, because, you know, you never know what it's like for someone, a mother whose child actually committed that crime. You know, I could imagine what it would be like to be in their shoes, especially if they poured into them and they did all they could do to raise them.
Exactly. You know, oh my God.
That's got to be very heartbreaking. You know, just as much as losing a child, because you're still losing a child.
You still losing a child. They gone to prison.
Yeah. And that's got to be hard. And you probably question yourself, well, where did I go wrong? You know? So I can understand that. You know, I understand it from both sides.
Yes. So, well, and I thank him for choosing me on both sides.
See, God has you still here for these purposes. He's going to continue to use you in a mighty way. You know, and long life will he give you, like it says in the word. You know, he has a life for you to do his will, and the fact that you surrendered your life and you're doing his will, he's going to continue to bless you to see a long life, and he's going to let you see all the fruits of your labor along the way. So as we're coming to, of course, as we're coming to an end for the interview, can you give your social media, where to find you and your tags for your social media?
Oh yes, I'm Instagram is Clemmy G at Clemmy G. And then it's at Gangster Angel One. My website for my whole program is NashvillePeacemakers.org.
I love it. Say that, the Gangster Angel One. I love that one. Say that one
Gangster
again.
Angel number one.
Yes. She's
That's
got
my
the thug,
Instagram.
she the thug life for Jesus. Amen.
Yes, yes, yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again for coming on to Perspectives today to give your perspective on a lot of different things that's going on with crime and a lot of people that have been a part of that Mothers Over Murder that you founded. Thank you for giving your service to the community, and thank you for being on here today. Again, I'm your host, Tiffany Wade, and this is for the show, my show Perspectives, which can be found on Enlighten TV, on your Roku TV or Roku stick. Thank you once again, and be blessed to all of our followers out there, and please continue to watch this show. We have many more great interviews coming in the future.
Amen.